When I was 20 years old, I went to study at the Boston Conservatory. On one of my very first days there, I was invited to participate in a free yoga class. That class has changed my life completely. I remember walking out of that class on clouds. The name of the teacher in that free class was DJ. She was the sweetest young Brazilian woman, wild, slim, with curly hair, and she had a light and fun spirit, and her class and her spirit inspired me so much to start my own yoga journey. And now yoga is an inseparable part of my singing journey as well. On my way to the opera, this is the second episode in the behind the scenes of my dream journey series, where I share with you different aspects of my inner journey that help me fulfill my dreams on my singing career path. The time on my yoga mat is my most sacred time of the day. The word yoga in Sanskrit means union, and I use this time to reunite with my inner self in silence, without any external distractions. I always start my yoga practice by sitting down on a pillow or on a folded blanket and meditate. I sit in a comfortable position, close my eyes, and take a few mental steps back. I observe what comes to my mind, which thoughts arrive, what bothers me, what makes me happy, what arouses different feelings inside of me. I let my thoughts fly like little soap bubbles that appear and go, and with every thought that leaves, I feel lighter and quieter, entering a more profound place within my mind, which is closer to my core, more present in this moment and a bit more remote from my daily thoughts. Meditation is the most important part for me in my yoga routine. I take about 20 to 30 minutes to meditate every day, and if I wake up late or if I don't have time to do my entire yoga routine for some reason, I will always find time to sit with myself for a few quiet moments and meditate to start my day centered and focused. When I finish meditating, I feel more at peace with myself, lighter, like things have gone off my shoulders and some weight has been lifted off my shoulders. So I open my eyes, stretch my legs, and start my Pranayama practice or my breathing exercises. I draw my attention to my breath and to different parts of my body that expand with every breath I take. There are so many breath exercises in yoga, so I would definitely recommend exploring that. These breathing exercises are crucial for my singing and have taught me so much about my posture and about parts of my body which are more open or need more work to open up. In Sanskrit, these spaces are called vayus. For example, when I sing, I focus a lot on the expansion of my lower rib cage. And in yoga, I am learning how to expand also the space between my shoulder blades with my breath. After more than a year of focusing my attention and learning how to expand this space, the expansion happens almost naturally now. Expanding these different spaces or vayus in my upper body makes me more aware and connected to my body while practicing singing. My shoulder and neck muscles used to be pretty tense while I was singing, and now after practicing yoga, I really learn how to relax them. That means that I also learn how to support my breath better while singing. In this way, I am dedicating time each and every day to explore and get to know better my inner muscles and the way breath affects their function. Then when I go to the piano and start warming up my voice, my body remembers this connection, which is practiced daily between my inhale, suspension, exhale, and the muscles. And so I can control my breath support better, relaxing the muscles that have tendency to tense and engaging other muscles instead. After I am done meditating and focusing on my breath, I take a moment to lie down, and then I start my asanas practice, or the different yoga postures and the stretches that I love so much. There are many different streams of yoga practices, and for the past 5 years I have been practicing and learning and deepening my knowledge of the Vijnana yoga with my amazing mentor Jonathan Grossman. And in this practice we learn how to connect the breathing exercises we have done earlier with the movement of the body in the asanas. Usually on the days when I do a full and really good yoga practice where I stretch and ground myself and sweat, sometimes a lot, then my singing is so much smoother and my voice comes out so much easier. My flexibility is reflected in my voice, and if I had a really intense yoga practice, my body is more ready to sing, as if I already stretched also my vocal cords in a good way. Also, many yoga principles are very similar to singing, so sometimes when I'm in a yoga class with Jonathan, my teacher, I feel that he reminds me how to sing better. For example, the concept of grounding. In the tree pose, I need to concentrate on my foot that stays on the floor and to ground myself to the floor with my weight on that foot. By concentrating on grounding down while I lift my arms, I am stable, I do not lose my balance, and I have strong physical and mental focus connection. The same principle is true for singing. When I sing a higher note, I need to concentrate on the note that comes before the high note and ground myself both physically and mentally. It took me a while to build and get used to my daily yoga routine. In the past, there were times when I practiced daily and then I stopped.
And then there were times when I went to classes or practiced and went to classes, or sometimes I didn't practice at all and did not go to classes.
And then 2 years ago, I have decided that it's really important for me to invest this time in myself. And so I wrote it down in my lists of goals, and I read it to myself every single day that I really want to incorporate the yoga practice to my daily life every single day. So how from a goal written on the paper, my yoga routine became a reality. I started slowly meditating 5 or 10 minutes every single day. And when this habit kind of grew roots and became like a second nature to me, I attached to it the breathing exercises. And this is how I build habits. I always find something, a habit that is very strong, like brushing my teeth, and then I will add after it a new habit. So for example, I brush my teeth every morning and then I meditate. And then my brain kind of makes the connection, okay, right after brushing my teeth, I'm going to meditate. And then I'm going to do breathing exercises. Then when the breathing exercises kind of became very strong habit, I added the asanas. And after a while, I had my full yoga practice and I started adding time to each different section. And today my yoga practice takes about an hour to an hour and a half. Depends on my mood, on how I wake up in the morning, on my physical feeling condition that day, and in general on time constrictions. During yoga time, I put my phone on airplane mode to eliminate as many distractions as possible and to really dedicate this time to myself. And now, story time! I would like to conclude this video with a small story about my yoga singing journey. I always wished I was Pavarotti, said to me the famous guru, the Dharma Mittra. A few years ago, I signed up for a 3 days yoga retreat in the desert because an amazing and famous guru, the Dharma Mittra, came to visit Israel. I had no idea that most of the participants who signed up for the retreat were experienced yoga teachers. I was practicing yoga for a while, but certainly was not as advanced as the other participants in that retreat, nor had the flexibility of a yoga teacher. Those 3 days in the desert were very intense for me, both physically and emotionally. I was surrounded by super flexible people, lifting their legs above their shoulders, almost flying in the air. They could do things with their bodies that seemed to me like pure magic. And they were talking about high yet simple principles that felt so remote from my daily life as an inspiring opera singer. On our last day of the retreat, some other participants came to me during lunchtime and asked me to sing for the guru as a gesture of appreciation for all he has taught us. We sat in a big circle inside a big tent. I stood up, walked barefoot with my sweaty yoga clothes to the guru, and said, "I would like to sing for you." He nodded. I sang an a cappella version of O mio babbino caro, accompanied only by the desert's wind. When I finished singing, the skinny, flexible, tanned guru said, "I always wished I was Pavarotti. Thank you for giving me the most beautiful gift." That moment changed everything for me. I realized that my yoga is singing. I can lift my leg around my shoulders and spin on my head with my voice. This is my practice, this is my philosophy, and this is what I'm dedicating my life for. Thank you so much for watching and spreading goodness. Bye!